we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Why do you always, but you hear my voice. Now I'm on, turn it down. Thank you. Or I could mute you. I think I'll do that instead. And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's Gerald Glasser coming back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast. And as I said earlier, which totally freaked out Joe and Sean, happy Star Trek Day, everybody. There you go. There you go. Okay, I can do it. There you go. There you go. Live long and prosper, everyone. Yeah, see that he has another. That's like a Cardassian sign right there for you. But live long and prosper. It is Star Trek Day. Thanks so much again for joining us. But go ahead and check out the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover Star Trek Day, Starfield, Baldur's Gate 3, and Taylor Swift. All of the shows. So go ahead and check it out today, where we get your podcast. Plus, also as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. This guy down here and this guy right there, they were on the show covering week 1 of the NFL. So go ahead and check that out today. Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Plus, also as well, Lakerholics.com. Go ahead and check out Laker Tom's latest articles as he is praying to the shrine of Christian Wood. And boy, is he letting you know about it with all the articles and stuff that he's doing. We're actually going to talk to him tomorrow, and he's going to be ending his number of backflips just to go ahead and sit down to talk to us tomorrow at 3 p.m. Saturday. So go ahead and check that out. But also as well, check out what he's writing about, along with Jamie Sweet, who's probably going like this right about now because we did sign Christian Wood, and that's at Lakerholics.com. Our good friends, John McCallion and Empire Jeff TV, please go ahead and support them on YouTube. Of course, LakersBall.com with Ox9247 and his company, Simblades. Simblades with a Y.com. But of course, it all means that you have to go ahead and support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Please go ahead and subscribe today. Please click on that little Joe with the beady eyes right there to go ahead. No, not the big one right there. No, the one off to the little bit to the right. There, when you click it, you'll get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. We thought we'd bring you a special Lakers weekend show just because we feel like rewarding you for a hard week of going ahead and watching us here at the Lakers Fast Break. Hopefully, you have had the opportunity to check out all the great team previews that we are bringing for you this week. Please, if you have not already, we had some great conversation with people literally around the world, whether it's East Coast, the Midwest, and also overseas in the United Kingdom. So go ahead and check out all of our great conversations with the teams in Milwaukee, Indiana, Miami. Did some great team previews. We've got even more lined up starting next week. We cover the Western Conference and some more great conversations this weekend as well. So please go ahead. Our NBA observations, check it out so you can get up to date on what people are thinking are out there in regards to the NBA this upcoming season. And speaking of the NBA this upcoming season, one of the things that kind of perked up for us today because of the loss by Team USA, a heartbreaker, a comeback that fell just short, 113 to 111 to Germany, but something stuck out at us, and that's for Lakers fans would be Austin Reaves. 21 points, his biggest his biggest output from a scoring standpoint the entire World Cup. That would be great, right? So why are we concerned? Why do we have some reservations? Why are we thinking about this really hard? It's because he was on the other end picked on relentlessly in the fourth quarter by Dennis Schroeder and other members of the Team Germany out there. They went ahead and they just singled him out, pick and roll, screened, trying to force him onto an island continuously. And unfortunately, it led to a lot of buckets on the offensive end, and the defense was just not there today for Austin Reaves. Flashback to a few days ago against Lithuania, and the same thing happened there. He was in the game, gave us a lot on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, they singled him out again. Could this be a precursor? Something we like to talk about here, the word we like to use quite often. Could this be a precursor for either the regular season or the playoffs with some concern with Austin Reaves defense? We're going to talk about today that very issue, but also highlight some of the good things he does as well, especially the fact that he's going to be relied upon so heavily this season. And here today to talk about just that, a good man indeed. It is, of course. I will start as I started with Joe first off last time around. I'm going to start off with the madman from Toronto. He did get out of Toronto traffic to go ahead and talk about Austin Reaves and his iffy defense. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Sean, you got a chance to see some of the footage today, especially also as well. Unfortunately, Team Canada's lost. So the Team Canada USA matchup is going to be in the bronze medal game at the World Cup, not the gold medal game. So I ask you, my friend, Lithuania poked holes in Austin Reaves' defense the other day. Germany did the same. Should we be concerned with the defense for Austin Reaves heading into the season for the Lakers?
Yeah, I think a little concerned, Gerald, but I wouldn't put it at DEFCON 1 right now. I think it's more like DEFCON 3, DEFCON 4. His man-to-man defense does need improvement, that's for sure. As you said, Franz Wagner and Dennis Schroeder just kind of ate him alive today with pick and roll defense. When he's separated and he's put on a quick guard, it's a problem for him, especially when he's on an island. You saw that a lot today, especially with Schroeder. I think as far as point of attack, Gerald, he's fine. He's fine. He's not the kind of relentless, aggressive, disciplined perimeter defender yet. He's very aggressive, especially in those first couple of seconds. I wish he'd be a little bit more disciplined and kind of just wait for the offensive player to make a counter move rather than Austin make. Usually Austin makes the first move and then the offensive player usually counters, and that's when he finds himself in a little bit of trouble. I also think the rules in FIBA are a little bit more skewed towards those kind of quick, shifty guards as well. More room to operate, obviously. But the fact of the matter is that you don't get the same calls in FIBA that you do in the NBA. They don't grift as much in FIBA as they do in the NBA. So I think there is a cause for concern. I think it's nothing in the way of Austin can improve and can't fix what's going on. I just think there's going to be some really some really bad games for him coming up.
How's, define bad. I,
Well, I think he'll if he gets put on an island like he did today, it's not going to be good. It's not going
okay.
to be good. Like when you saw that, Gerald, the big difference was the you I g so it's kind of a bird in the hand, so to speak.
Mhm.
Austin really didn't have any bigs in this tournament like he plays with Anthony Davis. It's hard to kind of compare apples to oranges here, but
Triple
usually
J was invisible.
invincible. He was. He was. I mean, this guy has completely disappointed. Obviously from what he's capable of. Triple J has disappeared the last three games against Montenegro, Lithuania, and now Germany. Now, surprisingly, all three of those are big teams, and it just seems that every big on the USA, and I can include Canada, just it this game isn't for them. Eventually you're going to get up against better scouting, better players, and that's what happened. I just think it's more of a case of you need to put Austin Reaves in positions where he's not vulnerable defensively. But that's easier said than done, especially in the best league in the world.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us as we talk about some of the concerns we might have for Austin Reaves. But coming up next is a man who may not have some concerns like I do over Austin Reaves and his defense. Although, then again, this is an undrafted player that, you know, is playing well above what most people thought he would ever do in the league. So I don't know how much we can go ahead and be, dissatisfied with any part of his game. I'm glad that we have a player that could actually potentially be that number 3 for us. Good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check him out today. It's Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. And of course, Simblades. Simblades with the Y.com. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, great to have you here. It's just when I see Austin Reaves singled out on an island, not more than one, but at least 2 occasions so far in this World Cup, it just concerns me because you know what we just went through in the playoffs. You know they put D'Angelo Russell on an island, and you saw the results there. They could very well do the same as far as a mapping a game plan in the playoffs for that, because we're all assuming that the Lakers are going to go ahead and get into the playoff mix. We're all assuming that there's going to be a matchup that the Lakers may or may not be able to take advantage of. But Austin Reaves being out on an island on more than one occasion in the playoffs may be happening. So that's why I do share some concerns right now.
Yeah, it's a concern. Wagner's not someone you would compare with, let's say, an Allen Iverson.
Mm-hmm.
Schroeder has a gear that he can tap into sometimes that can get a step on anyone who's guarding him, and he can get to the hole. That's something he's done numerous times in benefit of the Lakers as a Laker. The USA team initially was showing some signs of dominance at the beginning, and then I started hearing some things. One in particular was Brandon Ingram not being happy with his role. And this is when the United States was winning. When you hear a player who has shown his entire career that he's not able to lift a team to win, and just has shown stats, not crazy stats, but stats, yet complains, even though he's been given an opportunity, he hasn't come through. That's usually a bad sign. This team was constructed according to the international setup, right? If it was the Olympics, I'm sure that we would have had much bigger names at the Olympics versus the FIBA.
Of course.
But we still have, you know, pride in the country, pride in representing your country. You listen to some of the guys, even just 10 years ago, about the explanation of representing your country. A lot of these guys don't give one iota about the country that has made them or given them the chance to become successful. And, that might.
Jimmy Butler's recent comments, he was not caring at all what the Team USA was doing in the World Cup.
And Jimmy Butler is a guy I've talked about in terms of participation before. This isn't a isolated a situation. I'm not going to go too deep on this, but these guys don't give two craps about anything but themselves. And that's how we are bringing people up. And we justify that by saying, well, there's a system or there's an entity out there that's keeping you down. Okay, sure. You want to imagine that? Cool. Imaginary fantasy is something we've talked about on the show, and most of these guys live in that world. And using Ingram as an example, Ingram isn't happy with his role yet when he's given out the responsibility of being, let's say, the guy that he thinks he is. he comes up lame. So what am I supposed to do now? What is Steve Kerr supposed to do? And that's the question there, right? He's supposed to be an integral part of this team. Triple J, unfortunately, Lakers exposed him in the Memphis series. He's what many defensive player of the years are, is a shot blocking, cherry picking rebounder award winner. He's not a game changing defensive player in my eyes. He's not someone people fears. And the international game is even more brutal to a player like that because, well, you guys saw what happened. Reaves won on one-on-one occasions. And then, of course, you had bigs that had no business doing what they did. Why? Because at the end of the day, too, confidence does play a factor in this. And Germany and Lithuania played like they owned the United States, while the United States was too busy trying to pick their underwear out of their rear ends, figuring out whether they knew how to play team basketball. And Steve Kerr didn't look like he could, let's say, create that chemistry. And I know it's difficult. It's a new team and all that, but it's no excuse. America should never lose an international game. And it started all in 2004. I mean, they've lost before in 1972, but we all know what happened there. 1988, that was pretty bad too. But at this point, the United States should not be losing these games. And maybe they should have brought Jason Kidd to coach this team. Maybe that would have helped. I don't know. Pride, execution, confidence, not giving a damn. This is the result. This is what happens when you don't give a damn. And my respect for Jimmy Butler types when it comes to these kind of things is not good. And it'll never be good. And I don't take it personally because that's not how it works. It's a professional thing. So when I'm criticizing Jimmy Butler and Brandon Ingram, I'm criticizing their basketball professional decisions. But
and
then again,
their attitude sucks.
Their attitudes, and really, that's kind of a cop out too. But I want to make it clear that I'm not attacking them outside the court. Like I would never boo them at a Baskin Robbins, right? Or in a personal setting. I'm talking about basketball, and it is a personal. It's a personality thing too. So yeah, you could say I'm criticizing who they are. Yeah, absolutely, because they're not. These guys are not the kind of guys. You know, everybody gets enamored with how hard Jimmy Butler plays. You're supposed to play hard. You're supposed to try to win basketball games. Why are we patting people on the back for playing hard? But when it matters most, representing your country and executing a plan to win in a series that you own. This is an American sport. I mean, I know it wasn't created in America, but America made it what it is. And we should have enough talent, even at the third tier level, to win these tournaments. I don't want to hear about, the world has caught up. Bull crap. I don't want to hear that. It has nothing to do with the world has caught up. Okay. We have immense athleticism. We have guys that can jump over backboards in that time that are American basketball players. Maybe if they stopped spreading the wealth around due to fantasy. I didn't say what I said before because I felt like ranting about some random thing. Why are guys that are Americans playing in other goddamn countries? That's my question. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. It's fake. It's a lie. You guys want to live a lie? I'm tired of the fake crap. Now, whether that played a factor in this, I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. But United States is an absolute disgrace at this point because of these two losses, no doubt. And Who's going to fix it? I don't know. Do they care? Guys that they look up to, like Jimmy Butler, saying he doesn't give a crap. You know what? You might as well just give it back to the amateurs, guys. If the professionals are not going to be professionals, train the go back to the amateurs and let them do their thing. And that's how I feel about it. I have no respect for people who downgrade representing their country in games like this. I understand that certain guys can't play all year round. I totally get that. I know that I am in support of guys like Jimmy Butler at some point not being able to play in those games. But he never. When did he play in those games? When?
He said. Actually, Sean put in there. He repped USA in Rio.
He did.
Okay.
He did. He was on the team that won gold.
Okay, good.
So he did represent his country.
Good.
When asked.
Good. But why would he retort the way he did after? See, that's not a good sign.
He's just probably saying, wake me up when we go to the Olympics, because he doesn't really care about what's going on with the World Cup.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think Gerald, I also think that somebody who's skating here is Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr.
And I'm not, and I that's a bigger picture. I get that. And okay, and I'll let you go ahead right now, because again, this is an issue when I see what I'm seeing, especially him being singled out on defense on more than one occasion. I get all the good things with Austin Reaves. Great player, has a good feel, has a pretty good touch. He has a good feel for the game. Players love playing with him. He will find you if you're open. He has a very versatile game. Obviously, he's playing well above what most people would say is his pay grade, because he came out as an undrafted player. So I don't want to come off too bad and too poorly. Had a tremendous offensive game, 21 points, not single-handedly, but really kept the Team USA. He after a terrible third quarter, helped bring them back. I want to say all the superlatives I can about him. And during the regular season, he will delight us. I know he's a big favorite in the Philippines. I get that, all of that. But the problem is, you see some things that need to be addressed, and issues and concerns now. You address them now if you're in Lakers training camp, or after you give him a substantial amount of rest during the early part of the season. You address these things that you see, because if you don't, these things will show out and everybody will be mad at Austin. Why isn't the guy we deemed an all-star? Why isn't he playing good defense in the playoffs? Well, again, that's why I'm saying it now. It's just allowing him and saying maybe that we should go ahead and not we need to temper our enthusiasm for him a little bit. Let him progress as an athlete and a basketball player first, and before we anoint him the second coming. We do this so often, and it just is like, let the kid play basketball and see where he can go ahead and improve. Because if he doesn't, and he starts reading the headlines all the time, Magic Man, you can see it. We've seen it before. They read the headlines. They're told how great they are. Christian Wood is an example of this. They're told how great they are by the wrong people for so long. They believe it, and then their game does not develop as a result. So, you mentioned Sean. You mentioned, of course, Steve Kerr as being a part of the equation. Of course, when you've got the guy that needs help out there in defense, the first place you should look is the coaching scheme that's involved.
But then isn't Spoelstra there? Isn't he the greatest coach in 20 years? And
Joe, blah, blah, blah,
but Joe, and all that.
We also know that you could tell Steve Kerr that the sky is blue, and he'll tell you no, it's gray. I think he needs to take some ownership of this as well. He brought a NBA style of play, a hybrid team, to a tournament that rewards two bigs, Gerald. If you want to win the Olympics, FIBA, you got to have a big team. When the United States won in 2020, 2016, 2012, they had big teams, big teams. They need a true center. If they had an Anthony Davis or a Bam on this team, Gerald, I don't think we're having this discussion. But alas, neither one of those gentlemen were able to play in the summer. So they had to go with Cam Johnson, Triple J, and you let Walker Kessler kind of rot on the bench, Gerald. And you needed a true center at some point, and they just ran into a couple of teams. And Joe, I understand what you're saying. I will say this though, you know what? These teams are ranked high in the world for a reason. It's not just because of the talent; it's because of their coaching, their scouting. Um, they can really make you look silly. I mean, like Serbia made Canada look a little silly today, Gerald, for all the hoopla that Canada got. And
9
for
NBA players, et
players,
cetera, et
yeah,
cetera.
including Lou Dort and Dylan Brooks are supposedly stoppers, right? And they allowed Serbia to shoot 60% from the field, Gerald, and over 40% from three. That's not what you're looking for if you want to win a game and definitely a tournament. So I think Kerr needs to step up to the guillotine here because it's his team. I don't think he should be just allowing Austin Reaves and Jalen Brunson and Halliburton to uh, take
Take
the
the
wood
heat.
here. Yeah. So he really needs to step up and say, you know what? I brought one true center here, and it was Walker Kessler, and Walker was coming off a rookie season. So this was more of a supposed to be a learning experience for somebody like that, except for the fact that when Montenegro, Lithuania, and Germany uh, are just big, you have to play an inexperienced center because you need to combat that length and that height at some point. And he's the one who decided to bring over Triple J, right? I mean,
Yep.
Triple J is probably, and Joe alluded to it, outside of Brandon Ingram, Triple J is probably the big disappointment on Team USA.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us and watching and listening. It is Gerald Glasser along with the Magic Man Sean Grice and of course Joe Soro as well. Truly appreciate you joining us. If you get a chance, you've not checked out our team reports from the various Eastern Conference teams. We're finished with the Eastern Conference. We've completed that earlier today with a great conversation on the Miami Heat. Go ahead and please catch up because it will get you educated and get you up to speed on how the experts perceive each of their teams that they cover of this upcoming season. Joe, Austin Reaves, again, I just, he just, you could see it. You could see how he went to the Philippines. He was just, everybody was just all fawning all over him, the chants, and in fact that he did play on the offensive end really well, very efficient. He found people when he had the ball, but it's those little things. Again, when I see the defense for him right now, as far as a team defense, he could play good team defense. But when they put him out in situations like that, it's something that the Lakers, if you're Darvin Ham, you have to take notes, my friend. You have to take notes and understand the positives and the negatives of each player. And all these people out there, in fact, started with Daniel thinking, future all-star, Austin Reaves. You're hearing that all over the Lakers internet, future all-star, Austin Reaves. These are little things that concern me that might prevent Austin Reaves from getting it to be as good as we want him to be.
Well, the difference between Anthony Davis backing you up versus Triple J are night and day. So I wouldn't be too concerned about Austin Reaves being a turnstile. I mean, you have guys like Trae Young and Dame Lillard who don't play any defense, and they're making all-star teams pretty well, pretty consistently. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. I'm not expecting.
And I don't have to worry about the regular season, Joe. I'm worried.
I'm more, again, I didn't invest a lot of my time in this tournament. I just, at some point in your life, you can't watch everything. I just can't. I wish I could. If I didn't have to work, I could watch everything probably. So I didn't get a chance to watch everything, especially with the time constraints of the time zones and things like that. But the stuff that I did watch, I was initially very excited that they were going to run the table, and then all of a sudden something hit a snag. I don't know if the guys got bored. I don't know if they got exposed. I don't know what it was, but it just looked like they had no confidence. Looked like they had given up. They had just given up on trying to win this thing. And it's not going to affect my life. I'm not going to go and cry in a room in a corner. The NBA is always going to be number one in all these things, even the Olympics. I never really got excited. Like, yeah, we won in the Olympics. Even the Redeem team in 08 wasn't like invested enough in it, right? I was proud of them. I'm glad they got the gold and all that, but it's not like winning an NBA championship. It's different. But at the same time, it's just a constant reminder of where these guys are mentally and everything that we criticize and everything that I think the thing that bothers me the most is I have to watch this game because it's what I do. Even before we had a show, I enjoy basketball. I enjoy the NBA. I enjoy the competition. Yet that's also coinciding, supporting half these guys who are just guys I have no respect for from a basketball standpoint. That's the tough part. And that's what this did to me this morning. I just like, really? You lost to Germany? You lost to Schroeder? And Wagner?
I remember they were the first time they played. They were down by 16 and had to have another miracle comeback.
It's just I don't. Where is your pride? Where was your pride in 04 and 06 when they were losing, right? Those are the things. Those are the things that this is an American sport. You should be dominating this sucker. You should have something set up even for these second tier type international tournaments. Represent your country and represent that we're the baddest mofos in the game. You have enough second tier guys and third tier guys to win these series. I don't care how much the world is caught up. This is still our game. So in that respect, it's a disappointment. We have to watch Serbia versus Germany. What is this, soccer? Really? You lost to a bunch of soccer players? That's the end result, guys. And if I had to give a post-game speech, this face that I hate giving, I can feel it sometimes in somebody's face, and I can tell that they want to do something. I'm like, really? You lost to Mo Wagner? No. It's not good, guys. It's not good.
Well,
and I'll leave it at this. Here's the thing: if you've got your leaders like Jimmy Butler saying, "Call me when the Olympics start," then maybe you guys need to start taking these second and third tier international games. Go train some really good amateur players and let them play in these, so that way at least we have a chance and people who give a crap. If not, then you're going to continue to be just somebody who comes and goes through the motions.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast.
Yeah, and Joker's not even on the Serbian team.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, don't tell me you're caught up. Well, we don't have Durant and LeBron. Yes, of course. You're not going to get Durant and LeBron at this point. They're in their 50th years. You have plenty of talent in the NBA to have a good team. Where was Trae Young? Where's Trae Young? Trae Young would have made a lot of difference in this game, probably. Somebody who can actually score. So,
offense wasn't the problem, Joe. They scored 111 points in 40 minutes.
A lot of times, a good player that can get to the basket at will. A lot of times that tends to help your defense because now the other team is focused so much on stopping that guy, they're not as comfortable. All I saw today was Anthony Edwards shooting threes like he's Kevin Durant. And I keep hearing how great Anthony Edwards is.
He was the only one who played defense today,
He has
actually.
one good game or a couple games back to back, and all of a sudden he's the next Jordan. I'm not saying he wasn't valuable today or in this tournament, but guys, winning is what determines that. Winning and shot making at the right times is what dictates greatness. Stop telling me who's great, please. We use the word great, icon, the best way too much for players that have no business being in that category. Okay, Anthony Edwards should have still played better today. Should have won this game. And yeah, Steve Kerr probably should have played better, coached better, but.
And Grant Hill should have put out a better team as far as, constructed a better team that had more big guys playing overseas.
Yeah, and honestly, even if the United States was without Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, Draymond Green, that's a Hall of Fame legendary front court that obviously you can't replace. However, Gerald, the United States was in trouble within the first 4 minutes of this game. And it was Daniel Tice and Dennis Schroeder running pick and rolls just down their throat. And it wasn't anything complicated. But the fact is that Gerald, you stated this more than once when the Lakers were playing the Grizzlies in the playoffs. You said, I question Triple J's motor. For about 5 to 10 minutes, he can be the defensive player of his generation, Gerald. But then there are 12 to 15 minutes where he could disappear completely, and you wonder how he won a Defensive Player of the Year award. And tonight was a good example of that. Daniel Tice should not be picking you apart in the pick and roll. Fine player, excellent screen setter. Excellent roller, just not an efficient pick and roll offensive player that should be killing you like that.
Well, but I will come back at that by saying that Germany giving up 111 points didn't play great defense either, and that the Team USA was leading by 1 at the half. The third quarter is when everything fell apart for Team USA as they got outscored by 11. And tried to go ahead and valiantly come back and again fell short because once they got close enough, it came down to, as you know, it comes down to crunch time. The crunch time plays, isolation. The problem is, Sean and Joe, they were isolating Austin Reaves and scoring virtually every time.
Yeah, they were picking on him. Gerald, it was obvious. He got into a lot of situations where ball screens were not his friend. But
that's not the first time. If it was the first time,
Yeah.
What happened against Lithuania?
Yeah, exactly. And Gerald's correct. He has had that problem before in the Golden State series and obviously in the Nuggets series. Austin he's a young player, as Gerald has emphasized, but he gets in situations where I'm not sure if it's just a lack of awareness at what's happening, Gerald, in the moment, or if it's something he hasn't seen before, but he's constantly being dragged away from the key. And once you drag him away from the key, his defensive characteristics from a positive point of view disappear because he doesn't have the foot speed to recover on these quick and twitchy guards.
And I get that. And obviously that's part of the reason why he was an undrafted individual. I think that it's great that we have an individual that could potentially be a number 3, that he played so well for us as soon as the calendar hit 2023, Sean. The fact that he, it's just like it's found money, literally, that where he's able to go ahead and do all these things and play such a level. I just, I get concerned when people are just anointing him ever since he went to the Philippines and went to Team USA and even to the playoffs. I'm him, and all that. And I'm just worried that he is not going to work on the parts of his game that needs that help. And you're right, he'll never have that type of quickness that maybe that you need. But I liken it to Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma was a matador. He was a sieve, as you always like to say. But he, during that championship run, that championship year, what did he do? He worked hard in the offseason on his defense, and he made himself an acceptable defense. And at times asked, and Vogel allowed him to go ahead and play the other team's best player, and he did a decent job at it. That's my hope, John. That's my hope, Joe. That's my hope, Sean, is that the coaching staff of the Lakers will recognize this and say, you know what? These are things we need to work on with Austin Reaves during the season so we don't get burnt like that when it comes down to the money time in the playoffs, Joe. That's all I'm saying. I said he does an outstanding job with so many other facets of his game. I'm going to throw him his flowers there. But these are things that you see, Joe, that you're hoping that they'll rectify during the course of the season.
Well, Germany's coach, was it Gordon Herbert, right? You can say he outcoached Steve Kerr rather thoroughly, right?
Almost on 2 occasions.
And the way that the team looked with Steve Kerr coaching today, it looked like they had checked out. We've seen that several times in the NBA where the coach has been, it's gone on deaf ears. And all the coaches in the NBA have had that happen to them at some point, other than maybe Greg Popovich. Yes, Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, for those who don't know. Pat Riley in 1990, Phil Jackson in 2004, and he admitted that they couldn't just click because they weren't listening, right? It happens. I think that's what happened today, because when you have 50 points in the paint, that means you can't figure out how to close any lanes to the basket. That means you can't keep anybody in front of you, and they're not fearing anyone standing behind those guys to deter any shot. So now what? If you could penetrate all game long, or at least for an entire quarter enough to get a 16-point lead, then at what point who to blame? The blame game is very interesting in today's game. We choose to blame who we want to blame, when more often than not, you have to blame everyone.
It's a collective. That's right.
Oh yeah, it's a team loss.
You have to blame everyone, and I'm not talking about Grant Hill assembling the team. How the hell was he gonna know that Mo Wagner and Dennis Schroeder would be running circles around?
Well, but Grant Hill's also responsible for saying, "Hey, okay, we need to understand who we're playing against, so maybe focus in." But also, as well, having rookie bigs, not one but two, Paulo Banchero and Walker.
Okay, so let's talk about the bigs. Let's talk about the bigs that we likely needed that can rebound, right? Let's talk about rebounds, right? We talk about the bigs that could rebound, that would have benefited, or let's say the guys in the NBA that we know that would have benefited the USA team. I'm looking at the stats. I think the first, you got Anthony Davis, who technically won the rebounding title last year, but wasn't qualified to win it officially because he didn't play enough games, right? So he's number one. Then you have Sabonis, not an American. Jokic was third, not an American. Giannis was fourth, not an American. Rudy Gobert was fifth, not an American. You have to get down to six with Steven Adams to get an American. And that's even at this point, I don't even know who's American anymore. Right?
Yeah, Steven Adams is Australian.
Okay, so he's Australian. So he's not qualified, right? Clint Capella, what nation does he represent?
Capella? He's not, I believe he's French.
Okay, so right now, Anthony Davis between 1 and 7, because now you get to Vucevic, Valanciunas, Joel Embiid. Anthony Davis is the only true American rebounder in the top 10 in the NBA. So now what?
My guess is, Joe, the United States really goes hard for Joel Embiid. so he can be their starting center.
He's not
At
going
the
to want to do that,
Olympics.
and I can't blame him.
At the Olympics, that's you never know, Joe. He hasn't represented. He hasn't been able to represent them yet. I think that's playing into the U.S.'s hands here.
So,
go ahead, Joe.
Grant Hill or whomever is going to put these teams together for the second tier, third tier.
Because remember when the Olympics come around, right? Wemby's playing. Sabonis is going to be playing. All these Jokic is going to be playing. All these guys are going to be playing, and they want to. This one is kind of big. I know. Again, Joe had a fair point about kind of the mystique of representing your country and being in the Olympics. It's kind of it's lost a lot of its chutzpah. It's good vibes, but this one is particularly big. A lot of people are talking about this one. So I think it would behoove the United States, like Joe was saying, to find a big that can rebound, that's not named Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, Draymond Green.
Okay. Well, the thing I ask though is, let me just go back. Remember when Team USA played Puerto Rico, Sean? What did I say back then? There was that one isolation play where he was put out on an island and was made to look goofy by, I don't remember even the player's name. I don't think he's in the league. I don't think
He's not, Gerald. No.
Yeah. So I asked
you said it right there. You said it right there. You shouldn't get beat by somebody who's not even in the G League.
Yeah. So if that concerns you, and I understand, again, it's found money. He's playing brilliantly on the offensive end. He can help you in so many ways, and it's going to be great things. He's going to do a lot of things that's going to dazzle us during the course of the season. I'm just saying that I'm hoping that he and the staff will take note after he gets some time off, get some rest, comes into training camp or exhibition season, and over the course of the season works on these things that might be able to help, or at least Ham can create a scheme that can help hide some of these flaws that D'Angelo and Austin Reaves has if they're going to be your starting backcourt in a playoff run. And that's all I'm trying to say. That, great on the offensive end. And I understand that. But as we saw in the Denver series, if there's a flaw that sticks out to a good coach, it can be exploited. And ultimately, if you don't have the right defense to counteract it, it could be a problem for the Lakers. But also here today, good man indeed. It is Laker Nick. Laker Nick is looking to weigh in. I hope I didn't touch a nerve with the Austin Reaves talk, my friend, but I'm so glad to have you here, Laker Nick.
It's great to be here, Gerald. Salute Magic Man and Joe. No, you didn't touch a nerve. I think everybody's been raising great points, especially with respect on the USA team and the lack of pride that they've showed today. And so it's a shame, but hopefully, Team USA is able to get their act together, and 4 years from now, they're able to put on a better performance. They should be taking home the championship.
And like I said, I really am happy to see the progression, Nick, in his game, in the things that he's done, especially on the offensive end, the way he's been able to gel and be a really synergistic teammate with Tyrese Halliburton. Really happy with that. Just absolutely ecstatic. So thrilled the way he's progressed and grown as an athlete on that end of the court. The thing is, though, you go and you see this as an older adult. You see this kid, he's 24, 23 or 24-year-old kid. He's been thrust into the spotlight after his play. He was, I don't want to say he was treated, he at a mercurial level in the Philippines, but he was just adored by thousands and thousands of fans in the Philippines. Those kind of things and the stuff that he hears all over the world about how he is can get to a kid's head. I'm just making sure that the Lakers will still get the best Austin Reaves possible, because we don't have many years to go ahead and have him and LeBron and AD together on the court at the same time. We don't have many more years of that left.
Yeah, you're right, Gerald. And actually, Austin Reaves is 25, so he's definitely not a young kid anymore. I think he definitely did make some strides in his defensive play over the last year. I'm still hoping that he's able to improve, get stronger, physically stronger. Um, but we know that he's a great passer, that he could run an offense, that he could make acrobatic plays near the paint. And so that's not a question mark for me. But, as they say, defense wins championships. And so I'm really hoping that he's able to take defense to heart this coming season, especially given the likelihood that he will continue to start in the backcourt with D'Angelo Russell, who, to put it kindly, is not known for his defensive skills.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Well said, Nick. And I'm hoping he will work on those aspects of his game. But yes, overall, you've got to be pleased, Joe, with what you saw from Austin Reaves. It will bode well for the season. But we talked about Trae Young, and of course, we've heard all the rumors. No, we have not dedicated the show yet to the rumors of Trae Young, or have we? I think we might have dedicated one show to Trae Young and the rumors therein. But the reason why we don't want to devote too much time to it, because it just really hasn't happened yet. It just hasn't materialized, and you don't know if at all if Trae Young's going to be here. But we talked about it the other day with Trae Young, Joe. Trae Young, as great of an offensive player he is, he has those issues on the defensive end to the point where he got singled out. And I asked the question, is that Eastern Conference final run that he had a couple years ago the best he'll ever do as a player? So the same thing I ask you with Austin Reaves. Austin Reaves, great offensive player. We see a little bit now, a couple cracks here and there as far as the shortcomings on the defensive end that he needs to work on. Will this lead to Austin Reaves developing his game even further and working on those things? Do you have confidence in that? Or do you see maybe a little bit of people putting too high of expectations on him too soon?
I don't know how you want. I don't know how you can expect Austin Reaves to guard Schroeder. Schroeder's too fast for Austin Reaves. As far as Trae Young,
well, Steve Kerr obviously did. He put him out there with him.
Steve Kerr put him out there.
And that's a stupid decision. You saw the results. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but that was a stupid decision and ended up costing him the game. Why would you put a guy who's arguably 6'5", right? He's 6'5", right? Got some good weight on him, with a guy who's 6'2", maybe
170 pounds.
170 pounds who can run like a deer and can control the ball while he runs. That's a terrible. Maybe Kerr felt there wasn't anyone else he could put on Schroeder.
Yeah, Anthony.
But he was playing so well offensively, it's hard to just take him out of the game. Right?
I'm sorry. I don't think anybody expected what happened today, including Kerr, including Grant Hill, including us. What happened? Wagner should not be doing this to these guys. Which happened?
Which one?
Hans.
Yeah. Yeah, Mo, you're right, Joe.
And
you're
Mo.
Right. But yeah, no, that's who killed the United States today. Joe's right. Mo Wagner and Daniel Tice.
They just, I guess if you wanted to keep it simple, they were up by 1 at the half. And then maybe they just were so arrogant thinking, oh, we got this. Well, we just, whatever. And all of a sudden they got punched in the mouth and they couldn't recover. You're not that good.
They were, and again, Mr. Soro kind of brings up a good point there, because they were down by 12 against Lithuania and came back. And so maybe Joe's right. Maybe they just thought, well, we'll just kick it into high gear with about 5 or 6 minutes left. And you can't do that against the superior teams here. It's not only a better level of play, it's a better level of coaching and scouting. Like these scouts are the very best in the world. They've been watching the United States. The Germans watched the United States when they played Montenegro, and Montenegro kind of put a scare into them.
Yeah, and the officiating wasn't.
The officiating in FIBA is what it is, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we
they
don't.
weren't there to help America, anyways. Too, they were there more to, hey, well, put your pants up. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what we do. You could see it. You could see it in the fourth. I remember watching. I was like, man, these guys are not giving them jack squat. They're making them earn it with these calls, and
Yeah, because they won't give out those grift calls that the NBA officials will.
I really don't. In my head, the solution to these rosters is understanding how to create the rosters, just like the Colangelos did there for a few years, to better set up for that particular tournament instead of just sending a team there, right? And maybe the Grant Hill didn't do that. Maybe he followed the same format. It's just maybe what was the problem is now it's 2023. Maybe the format in 08 and 12 and 16 was not going to work. I mean, we can go over this to the point where people are bored of listening to it. At the end of the day, we had enough talent to win this tournament. We have Steve Kerr, who's a 4-time NBA champion as a coach. Spoelstra, who's a 2-time NBA champion as a coach. So you can't sit there and tell me we didn't have players that could win this tournament and coaching that was good enough to show these guys how to do stuff. You know, this is not a good year for Steve Kerr. It's been a bad year for him. And maybe it's because his time has come. It happens, guys. Maybe people are not listening to Steve Kerr anymore. His own team wasn't listening. Hell, they didn't listen to Bob Myers. Freaking built a dynasty, drafted their big three, and still got a big four in his prime, one of the best. Yet the second he said, "Hey guys, we need to start going," I'm assuming this is what happened because there's no reason why he would have quit unless something like this might have happened. But he's saying, "Guys, we're getting old. We need to start getting ready to do something else." And then Steve Kerr comes in, or Steph Curry says, "No, I like Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. I think they'll stay." Okay, I like that happened because it makes it much easier for the Lakers to compete, right? But yeah, it's a sting. It's a sting because it is the United States. As much as we're not as invested in it as we are the NBA or maybe even the Olympics to some degree, it's still a burner. And I would have liked to have had, from a selfish standpoint, I would have liked to have had Austin Reaves win a tournament here before the season starts to give him that feeling of, man, I'm feeling good. I want to go win a title now, an NBA title, right? That's usually how. But
Joe, it's also where we are. Like, let me ask you a question. Who's the last great center that America has produced?
Great, as in what I consider great?
Yes.
The last true great center that America produced was Shaquille O'Neal.
I agree. That's who I was thinking of, you know. And Shaq's been retired for almost a decade. I think that's a lot of where we are too, with a lot of these select teams, a lot of these select leagues. They are not even interested in teaching the basic fundamentals of being a center. It's more about skill sets, specific actual shooting skills or running skills. It's used to be you learned the whole gamut when you played the front court. You learned what the small forwards roles are, what the power forwards roles are, and what your roles are. Now it's very segmented, compartmentalized, not in a good way, in a bad way, and that's where I think a lot of it goes as well. It's a lack of preparation.
It doesn't matter, guys.
Well, it does.
It doesn't.
It
We're
does.
still watching.
And
It does or it doesn't?
This discussion of lack of fundamentals, lack of this, lack of that.
Well,
There's
we
no
just
bearing
both
on
said.
the result.
Oh, really?
No,
Really?
because we don't care.
So,
we
Joe,
have accepted mediocrity, guys. We have, as a society in general,
What?
we accept it. Actually, we champion it so that everyone can feel good about themselves. Okay,
So-
we don't want to train beasts anymore. We want to make sure everybody has a chance and hope for the best. And if it's not, hey guys, here's the Gaylord Fokker 14th ribbon champion, 14th place ribbon champion. Here you go. Here,
I
feel
knew
good
where
about
we was
yourself.
going, Jared. That's all right. I knew where
I
we
know.
I-
You have to
J-
be very careful with that.
Gerald, I'm glad I was on.
Focker, guys.
Yes,
Fokker.
Joe, I'm glad I was on mute because I was definitely cracking up on my end. Actually, Magic Man, or for others that may have watched the game closely, one thing that did strike me just looking at the box score is, and in our discussion just now about American centers, I see someone like Jaren Jackson Jr. only playing 18 minutes today. Did he get injured? What's the reason for that? And
I didn't
also,
see foul trouble.
okay, and I also see Tyrese Halliburton getting less minutes than Brunson and Josh Hart. Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah. So going back to that, you know what, Nick? Unfortunately, Germany just had a lineup where if you put Halliburton on there, he was just going to get in foul trouble. I mean, he's another young player. And we talked about it yesterday with Dustin. If anybody gets a chance to listen to that great preview we had, he kind of mentioned that Halliburton needs work defensively. He really does.
Yeah.
He's 6'6", Nick, and he's about 200 pounds, but he's not. He doesn't have a lot of muscle. It's a lot of lean, not muscular. So he's got an issue there. You can attack him because he's prone to fouls, and he's also because he's prone to fouls, he's not as aggressive as he probably should be. That's one. Two is, I agree with you, Nick, and we were talking about this before. Why weren't you even considering just putting him in the starting lineup? Because they're small. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Anthony Edwards, Josh Hart, and Triple J. That's a small lineup. So if you had actually put Halliburton or Reaves in the starting lineup, you'd be able to stagger Brunson and Halliburton. Plus, you'd be able to move Anthony Edwards over to the 4, because at this point in time, you needed somebody in that front court to rebound. And if it wasn't going to be Josh Hart and Triple J and Paolo Banchero and Bobby Portis, I mean, kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel there.
One thing I want to ask, though, and I'll ask Nick because it's something that you said earlier and you typed it out in the chat room. And once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us and watching and listening. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break. Laker Nick, I want to ask you something that Magic Man pointed out. So getting back to Austin Reaves, again, tremendous performance overall in the World Cup. But it's these little things that I'm just have concerned about as far as concerns over whether or not he can work on and improve the defensive end. Something that Sean posted earlier in the chat was his defensive rating last year was 116.8, if I'm not mistaken. And if you remember, Nick, when I did those profiles of all the new additions, the one through line and constant was that they were all in that various points of their career. Their latest seasons were all either their worst or one of their worst defensive ratings as far as before they came over here. Is this of concern to you about the high defensive rating that Austin Reaves needs to go ahead and try and bring down and focus on now that more attention is going to be paid to him?
No, I agree, Gerald. I think Austin Reaves, one of the deficiencies in his game last year was just being a more consistent 3-point shooter. And I think we were all pleased that he was able to develop and improve on that. As I said before, I'm hoping that the next step for him is to really embrace defense. I hope he's the lockdown backcourt defender once the season does start. I'm hoping that with Anthony Davis hopefully moving to the four and helping out on the perimeter, that inspires Austin to take more of a leadership role in that regard. And especially considering that LeBron himself, he's nearing 40 and, he can't move the way that he moved 10 years ago. So all of that points in the direction that Austin needs to improve, must improve. And a large part of our success is going to be contingent on Austin Reaves and how much effort he puts on his defensive game.
Well, the thing I say though, when you talk about that as far as his defense, it's just the thing is, are you sure AD is going to play many more minutes at the four spot? Are you sure? Are you fully confident with the signing of Christian Wood that that's going to happen? Because I know there are people
Yeah.
like me who are not fully convinced that Darvin Ham is going to let Anthony Davis play the four as much as people hope.
Right. So I'm definitely not in the camp that, that's a absolute given. I know that a lot of many other folks in the media and these channels are saying that, Wood is an automatic start at the five. I don't think that's the case. I definitely do think that Darvin Ham just being hopefully a smart enough coach, he's going to be trying out different lineups in camp. But we know that he likes AD at the five. I mean, that's just a given, especially when he's had other centers available. Granted, probably not at the level of Christian Wood, but with Christian Wood offering at least an offensive threat and hopefully being able to complement AD's game, I'm hopeful that Darvin Ham is able to move AD to the four and hopefully preserve him for the playoffs. But I agree with you. I don't think it's a surefire bet that that's actually going to be the case. We have to wait and see.
Oh, according to Laker Tom tomorrow, I'm envisioning. I'm closing my eyes, Nick. I'm envisioning here at 3 p.m. tomorrow when I speak to him and everybody else on the show that he is going to imagine a scenario where AD will be predominantly at the four. It is just, Laker Tom is going to envision that and try to make that happen, just like he willed for over a year now for, of course, what we talked about with our Indiana team preview with Buddy Hield and Miles Turner here. Again, that's a question that only, of course, Darvin Ham can answer. But Sean, I bring it back to you, my friend. When it comes to Austin Reaves, again, you got to go ahead and talk about the superlatives. You got to go ahead and talk about how he was able to facilitate, how he was able to go ahead and score, shoot efficiently. It's just the things when it comes to the defense, he's got to work on that. I understand you can only do so much with the kind of foot speed and athleticism that he has or has not compared to other NBA players. But if you're talking about a scenario, Sean, where you see in the playoffs down the stretch things that you need to go ahead and work on, at least you can do or work with a team and the team concept of a team scheme to try and minimize these advantages for a team as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely, Gerald. And it's a constant progression of trying to improve. We all know this. We all know Austin wants to get better. I'm sure he will, but it's just a case where he needs to. It's not an option anymore. His defense, especially his point of attack and his recovery needs improvement because we got bitten really bad in the playoffs by that. Plus, you got D'Angelo Russell, and now plus you add in a Christian Wood. You can't play those three guys together, Gerald. Two out of the three, sure.
Oh, I bet he will.
But he will, of course, and we're going to get murdered with, especially with those three together. Um,
Well, I mean, if the defensive rating is going to be like 117, the offensive rating better be 119 to say
Well,
the
and
least.
see that's the big difference between somebody like Reeves and somebody like Wood. Wood is easily distracted out on the perimeter, and he I don't know why, but he has a predilection, Gerald, of just watching the ball instead of watching his man. Austin Reaves doesn't make that mistake. So that's a huge issue. If you got two guards now who have the potential of being dragged out or pulled out, and you've got a space cadet on defense sometimes, Christian Wood, that's not a good formula for success, my friend.
Oh, but people are going to go ahead and show you nonstop the video and the highlights of him blocking a three-pointer by Steph Curry as the say, and they're just going to focus in on that. Say, see, he can do it. He can. There's no reason why Christian Wood can't play decent defense. I'm not asking him to be a lockdown defender. I'm not asking Austin Reaves to be a lockdown defender, Joe. I'm just asking him to be to the point where he's going to be average or
But
efficient.
it's really it's a case of fundamentals, though, Gerald. I mean, we know it's hand-eye coordination. Some guys were better at it than others. Alvin Robertson, Kawhi Leonard, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Although Kobe didn't brag
Michael
about
Cooper.
Michael Cooper. Some guys have really great discipline when it comes to hand-eye coordination, being able to watch your man and watch your ball at the same time. But you have to be able to do it both, at least at an average level, and that's where Wood needs to improve significantly. For me, with the thing with Reeves is he needs to get really low once he's out there with a quick twitchy guard. Once he gets low, if some guy can hit a 22-footer or a 25-footer, hats off to you. But Reeves could definitely get better there, Gerald, rather than just watching all these twitchy fast guards roll by him.
Sean, those are great points. One thing that I would just add, and Bloodhound is reminding me right now of it, and it's that, I just hope that Austin Reaves remains humble next season, that he puts his nose down, works hard. He was able to secure a contract this offseason. But, all the talk about, that he's him and all the hype surrounding him and the love that he was getting overseas and will continue to get. I just hope it just doesn't get to his head and he continues to just be a hardworking kid.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us. I've got Laker Nick, Joe Soro, and Magic Man Sean Grice. Going to wrap things up here in the next few minutes, but we've got a great weekend planned for you. We've got shows lined up for on Saturday and Sunday as well. So looking forward to going ahead and having more conversations with you this Lakers weekend. But Joe, you're having fun in the world's best Lakers chat room. That's right here at the Lakers Fast Break. So I ask you, my friend, you're going back and forth on this. You don't seem too concerned right now about it. And I guess for the most part, you shouldn't be, because these are things that Austin Reaves can work on. But also as well, Darvin Ham needs to go ahead, again, as we say throughout, just take note, because the rest of the league is taking note on how to go ahead and attack Austin Reaves.
I didn't see it in the playoffs, even against Denver. Did you see Austin Reaves get? Because they were too busy shooting threes and making them, right? That's what
they were too busy and running D'Angelo around screens.
Okay. Oh.
He was the worst. He was the worst of the two backcourt.
Darvin Ham is going to have to adjust on a daily on how he's going to run his sets, depending on the team he's playing. That's the advancement of the NBA in a good way. It's interchangeable. It's ever changing night in and night out. So you're going to need to coach at a different level than what you're probably used to. Now, I say that you're going to have the same starting lineup because I believe continuity and habit is good when you do that. But you're also going to need to go with certain guys, let's say at the end of the fourth quarter in close games, that have some momentum on their side and are going to play better depending on who they're playing against. Those are the type of things that I'm going to be paying attention to. If Austin Reaves can't guard a parking meter, then we're in trouble. Well, where did this come from? I didn't notice him being this bad of a defensive player during the last couple of years. Then that means it's likely a confidence thing. It's likely a mental thing that's going on there. Or the other teams have adjusted and they know what kind of offense to run around that type of player. It could happen. Well, it's your job as a coach to adjust, or LeBron or AD. Christian Wood adds an interesting element that we've never really had. We have a skilled offensive player at the center position who can shoot. There's nothing but good things that can come from that, even though he's deficient on defense. So we can't. First of all, defense is not important anymore in the NBA. Yes, there are times where defense plays a factor in the wins, just like in the NFL. A late Joey Bosa sack, TJ Watt swat, yeah, absolutely, it helps in winning a game. But this is an offensive era in all sports. No one gives two craps about defense anymore, and the defense is not allowed to play defense anymore, really. So you need to play well enough on defense to allow your offense to do what it needs to do to win championships now. That's just what it is. You're never going to see a Mike Fratello defensive heavy team anymore. You're not. You're never going to see it. You're not going to see a late 90s Bulls defense with Dennis Rodman at the helm with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. You're never going to see that, guys. It's over. Never. You will never see that again. You could have three of the best centers on the planet on the same team, and you'll still won't. Those guys will not be allowed to do what they're supposed to do, because the second you touch air near a player at the basket, they're going to call a flagrant foul. And that greatly eliminates that aggressiveness. Greatly. And it's the fact that you have to review a flagrant foul is one of the dumbest things you can do. You have to review a flagrant foul. You should have a flagrant foul is an obvious call. Are you all blind? Are you blind? Did he elbow him in the face or in the chest like Bynum did JJ Barea? That was a flagrant foul. Not he's trying to block a shot and he acts and he grazes his head in the moment of play. What is a player supposed to do? Shift his elbow like Mr. Fantastic out of nowhere while he's trying to block a shot? What if the other player moves his head real quick? We can't get on this discussion on anything anymore without talking about something stupid. This is stupid. The fact that we're talking about Austin Reaves, whether he's going to be able to guard anybody, is stupid. I watched the team in the second half today look like they didn't give two damns about anything.
So how did we beat Golden State? Did we just stand around with our hands in our pockets when Steph and Clay were running around the court, Joe? Like we just
because you said defense doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, you did. You just said that.
I thought we were all praising Anthony Davis's defense in that series.
Because I remember Austin Reaves running around like it's chicken with his head cut off.
Yes, and I will give him credit for that. Well, absolutely.
And he ran around. He had no legs after that series, Gerald. So like we gotta give him credit for that. The man emptied the tank for us.
But this
is
different. That's team defense. That's a team defensive scheme. We even saw him do that for Team USA, where he's running around screens trying to go ahead and hedge his, as far as the bets, as far as either going and fronting the guy, or if he's the guys in the corner, cutting that corner off from the team so that they can't make the pass. That's good team defense. I'm not disputing his team defense. It's his one-on-one defense, Joe, in at times where down in crunch time when it comes to isolation points, which he is going to be a major part of in crunch times for the rest of this season, barring any health issues, of course. That's something that's not going to bother you at all, because defense, in your terms,
I'll worry about it when I see it.
Of course, yeah, you worry about it when you see it, of course.
I'm not going to sit here and worry about it in September. I mean, what happened?
We're talking about everything else.
What happened in all the wins? What happened in all the wins that they had in this tournament? Like, we didn't hear anything about Austin Reaves' lateral movement in those games? What happened? Today, something happened today. We don't
kind of
know.
did at Puerto Rico.
Okay, but we won that game, right? We didn't hear. I didn't hear it then.
I said it on the show.
I didn't hear you.
See, there you go. You never hear me.
Yeah.
Actually, when he does, it goes in one ear and out the other. He forgets instantly.
If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound?
I like the bear one better.
That's why
I'm
we
just
love
saying.
Joe.
I'm just saying, if you are in, and thank you so much, Lakers in 5. Truly appreciate the super chat. Very kind of you to do so. I'm just saying it's something that the Lakers coaching staff needs to be aware of. It's because everybody else in the NBA is watching this, and they're watching how to scheme against all these players. Yes. They're all grabbing the tape. They're all getting the videotape. They're all getting the YouTube highlights or whatever. They're all getting the footage that we're all seeing on a game-by-game basis.
So James Harden and Joel Embiid and Trae Young and all these guys are worried about what happened in the third quarter against Germany, on how they're going to play against Austin Reaves.
Not them, but their coaches certainly are. If they're good coaches, I would. Not just Austin Reaves, but how to scheme against Tyrese Halliburton, how to scheme
I'm going to say this,
et cetera, et cetera.
You give me Anthony Davis backing me up versus Triple J, I'm going to feel a little bit better.
Yeah, big difference there.
Of course. I'm not going to ever dispute you on that.
Because I never noticed in any games where Austin Reaves was just getting blown by like Derek Fisher against Mike Bibby back in 2002. Hell, Troy Hudson was destroying Derek Fisher in 2004 like he wasn't even there. There's a difference, right? We saw it with D'Angelo Russell, but we already know who D'Angelo Russell is. He doesn't have the foot speed to stay with elite guards like a Jamal Murray. So I'm not gonna I believe this was a coaching ding. I would not have put Austin Reaves on Schroeder. Schroeder is a very, 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 very fast player. Clever. And the only reason why he's not a big star is he doesn't do it consistently enough. He's got too many dead games. Mm-hmm. If he did that in every game, he'd be a star.
And Joe, Dennis has even been a pest with Steph Curry. He's made Steph's life difficult.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Now that he signed that big contract, though, Nick, with Toronto, so much expectations have him. I mean, now he's supposed to be their starting point guard, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think now he'll live up to the hype? Because we've seen this scenario before for him, and it's not paid off. It actually got him out of the league.
Yeah, Dennis is an interesting player. He's either wowing people with some brilliance on defense, which is few and far between, but I think he is an effective guard. I don't think that he's definitely far from being a star. I think he's a 6-man off a team. I don't think he's necessarily a starter or starting level player. But we'll see what he does in his new team. But I do think that he is valuable on defense. As Joe says, if anything, he has speed, and that could make life difficult for the other guards on the team.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us. It is Joe Soro, Laker Nick, and Sean Grice, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Again, thank you so much for everybody out there supporting us, especially Lakers in 5 for the super chat. We truly appreciate your kindness in doing so. So we're going to go ahead and close this out here in the last few minutes. But Sean, when you see the Team USA as far as play the way they did, when you see Team Canada play the way they did, could this be a precursor for what may happen with supposedly better teams coming up next year in the Olympics?
Hard, Gerald. That's going to be really hard. Yeah. France is hosting the Olympics. They just got punked in this tournament. They're going to be eyeing a medal really badly, Gerald, especially in the basketball tournament. and with Wemby on center stage off a rookie year. Um, Serbia is going to be back as well, Gerald. They've qualified for the Olympics, and they're going to have the Joker in their starting lineup. So now that's two teams that are coming for a medal. Add in Lithuania, bringing Sabonis back. They're probably going to be in the mix as well. Um, you have Argentina, Australia, Spain, and then you've got the United States and Canada. I feel better about your prospects winning a medal, Gerald, in Paris than I do Canada. Unfortunately, I thought, you know, if this was a springboard for Team Canada, they needed to be in that championship game. I thought. I'm not sure who's going to show up for this bronze medal game. I don't even know how to make heads or tails of that. So although I'm optimistic, I think Canada may be able to get on that podium in next summer. I don't think so. I think the United States will. I think they'll come back strong. My prediction is that Joel Embiid will become their naturalized citizen.
That has to
And
be right there because you guys made a very, very good summation on the fact that the center position, big guys are going to be an issue for us if we don't get someone like Embiid on the team.
100%. That's why I think it's a good bet that Embiid will represent the United States at the center position. But again, right, Gerald. After that, the United States, Canada, they really need to focus on what are you going to do about your next generational bigs, because every other every other team that's vying for global supremacy, and that includes the NBA, has a competent big, except for the United States and Canada. I
So
mean,
I ask you this.
let's not get it confused either, Gerald.
Okay.
Even if Canada had beaten Serbia, Germany would destroy them. Germany would destroy them
Wow. Okay. So I ask you
because
this.
yeah,
Go ahead. Finish up.
yeah.
Finish up.
No, I was just gonna say, like, as much as we're talking about the United States having a big problem, the best bigs that Canada would face off with Germany would be Dwight Powell and Kelly Olynyk. I shudder, Gerald. I shudder.
So I ask you this, guys, each and every one of you. Who from Team USA this term, these players that looks like at best is going to earn a bronze medal at the World Cup? And I'll start with you back with you, Sean, again. Who from Team USA now will be on Team USA next year, my friend?
Okay. So the United States on this team had three All Stars. They had Anthony Edwards, Triple J, and
Brandon Ingram.
Ingram. Yeah, Ingram will not be on Team USA. I don't think Triple J will be on Team USA given his performance. So I think the only All Star that will be on the squad next Olympics will be Anthony Edwards. Gerald, the United States needs to invite Austin Reaves and Tyrese Halliburton to the Olympic camp minimum. I think they should be on the team, but I at least think you should invite them. I would also include Mikal Bridges. So I would have those four guys on the next USA Olympic team.
Laker Nick, so I ask you the same question. You see the results for Team USA. So what does this mean for next year? Is there anyone or everyone should be coming back for another go round for Team USA in the Olympics?
Yeah, Gerald. Yeah, I agree with the Magic Man. And actually, I should add that Tyrese Halliburton, I think he was an All Star last season. So he was another All
Yes.
Star that, was part of Team USA. I think Halliburton is back. I also think that Anthony Edwards is back. And I would also agree that Mikal Bridges should be back. He's a versatile wing. I think he's continuing to grow in his new role in Brooklyn and now being the it man there. So I think those three are surefire bets to be back on Team USA, and I would not be upset if they are. I wish I would have seen better things from Bobby Portis and obviously Jaren Jackson Jr., but that didn't pan out.
So, Joe, I leave it to you as the last individual on the panel to go ahead and talk about who, in your opinion, because you've been very, as far as direct in your opinions about this year's team, is anyone deserving to be on next year's team going to Paris?
I'd say it's only Anthony Edwards that's going to come out of this team, yes. Everyone else is a second, third, and fourth tier player. Anthony Edwards is a second tier player, but he's probably going to be like the 11th and 12th guy on the team. Unless a lot of the A-listers bounce. I'm basing this off the fact that the A-listers will participate.
Okay, that's fair, but name me 5 wings.
Don't ever interrupt me. No, I'm just kidding.
I also laughed on
this well-qualified Middle Eastern man really plays some real hardball. I'm telling you.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. No, that's fair, Joe. But like, what five wings, like right now, would you put ahead of Mikal Bridges for Team USA?
Okay, so we know LeBron, we know Durant are not going to play. We know he's not going to play. Steph
and Ant, right? Ant's playing.
Do you think Steph is going to play?
I think this loss for Team USA always inspires.
They're gonna ask him. They're gonna ask him. They're gonna ask him to play.
They always inspire. If they had won the World Cup, then all bets are off, and exactly if every one of these superstars are going to play. I think the incentive is more after the humiliation of what's gone on this week.
I mean, the first thoughts, the first few players that I think about in terms of wings, even though they're not, I mean, they can play wings, but they're really guards, is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, right? I mean, you put Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum on this team, they win, right? So I right out the gate, Jason Tatum for sure, Jaylen Brown, Booker out of Phoenix. I think you have those 3 right there, and you're going to have relentless talent scoring at will when they want to, right? God, who else would play?
This is what I'm saying. Like,
is Paul George too old?
Yeah, he's done.
I mean, it's very hard to pick these days because, you know, what's the first wing you think of? Giannis. Well, he's not American. Kevin Durant, he's not going to play because he's old. Kawhi, he's broken down. He ain't playing. The next one is Jason Tatum.
Damian Lillard's not going to be on the Olympic team.
Damian Lillard's not going to be on the Olympic team. Then you start talking about Luka. Then you start getting into the Brandon Ingrams, and you saw what happened there. So we're limited on wings that'll play. What, Zach LaVine? Is he going to be able to play?
So
Paul George, is he going to want to play?
So
is Chris Middleton going to make a difference? Is James Harden going to play?
Kyle Kuzma?
Here were the wings for the United States Olympic team. Okay? Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Jeremy Grant, Zach LaVine, Chris Middleton, Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown wasn't even on the team, so you'd have to assume he's on it. So you have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. You're not going to have Chris Middleton again or Zach LaVine. So, yeah, I think Bridges is on this team.
Well, that's something to think about right there. And we will continue to go ahead and talk about the World Cup here as it concludes this weekend. Obviously, not a great time for both Canada and Team USA as both teams lose earlier this morning.
Blood, you got the comment of the night, brother. Blood with the comment of the night.
Yes.
And by the way,
garlic parmesan.
I would put all those wings ahead of Bridges.
Yep, right there for you. But please go ahead and make sure you subscribe today to get the latest notifications.
Must smell fantastic after eating that.
Well, you're the wing master on the show, my friend.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
I
proven.
go with the old stuff though, and they smell good. It tastes good.
I like lemon pepper myself.
Even though the spice was burning my brain cells so much that started coming out of my nose. I highly recommend, if you're ever going to do something, make sure it's on some kind of platform where you're broadcasting it, because my face was burning, but because I was trying to entertain at the same time, my brain wasn't caught up in the pain. And for a minute there, the guy that was recording the challenge said, were those even hot? Like, until my snot bubbles start coming out. I'm like, does it look like it's not hot? Is that good enough for you? Snot bubble, right?
Well,
right
these hot challenges, let's not try to do any this year or this season, because we already seen in the past few days what happens when somebody
yeah, they pulled them off, by the way.
Yeah, off the retail version, but you can still get them.
But they won't pull off alcohol, apparently, even though there's a alcohol accident every 15 seconds, right?
Yep. There you go. But once again, it is the Lakers.
Good job, America. Way to keep us safe.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. As
One
always,
poor kid gets hurt and dies doing something, and it's all right, it's done. But then the other thing next to it.
And those one chip challenges say these are not for kids. It specifically says that. It's for adults only. There you go. There we have our reason. But it is, of course, if you want to go ahead and check out on this YouTube channel where Joe did the one chip challenge, it's still right there for you, right here on the Lakers Fast Break. Plus, also as well, if you want to see his hot wings challenge.
I've eaten flaming hot Cheetos that were hotter than the one chip challenge.
Well, people will also get you because you had the Sonic shake you were drinking at the same time.
So
there you go. Well, it's kind of circumventing it as soon as you're eating it. You're like,
it probably tasted like the surface of the sun.
You're supposed to eat it and then let it sit there for like 5 minutes on your tongue.
So what about all those people who eat the hot wings and they keep drinking the gallon of milk and it's not changing anything? Why did all of a sudden Joe Soro in the middle of nowhere drink a milkshake and all of a sudden it wasn't bothering him? Maybe dude, I saw a challenge when there was a line of people eating peppers, like just the pepper, stuff that would destroy an esophagus, inner lining of a stomach in seconds. But these people were eating them raw and they were fine. Like little by little, they're all falling off. But the two that made it at the end, I'm like, what kind of digestive system these guys have? Are they Komodo dragons in human form? Like, what's going on?
Oh my gosh. Search and Destroy actually did. If you want to look in the chat, Search and Destroy has brought up the exact link for the Joe's one chip challenge right there for you. You could also find in the archives his hot wing challenge as well. So for Joe Soro,
you get snot bubbles with the hot wing challenge. You get Joe Soro snot bubbles.
Absolutely. Some great.
By far the best wings I've ever had, by the way. I commend Buffalo Wild Wings. There was a little bit of a lull there after Arby's bought them out, where the wings kind of went down, and then they.
Why?
I think you probably know why.
Yeah, I know why.
They try to cheap out on things, and they ended up starting. It was pretty rabid too. They're like, "What the happened to the Buffalo Wild Wings?" Reviews and stuff, and then I'm sure the
people
CEO's
get rabid.
Like, hey, bring the other stuff back.
People get rabid when you change.
Don't change something that tastes good to cheap out, right? Just like I told you about the Big Mac. As soon as they did that thing with the Big Mac, I haven't eaten it since.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, always great food talk, Team USA talk, and Laker talk right here for you. Join us tomorrow for Lakerholic Spotlight. Laker Tom is absolutely giddy right now because he gets to talk Christian Wood, and we are going to let him talk as much Christian Wood as he wants. Plus, also, Sean may join us. Joe may join us. I put out the request for L. Rob. Laker Nick, you're always able to join us if you want to as well. So that'll be Lakerholic Spotlight. I guess we're all subbing for Jamie Sweet, who's camping once again. So we'll be hearing Laker Tom's thoughts on his latest article, and of course, everything on Christian Wood there as well.
How about this for fate? Jamie already had this planned out. So this,
Oh, I'm
it's
sure he
not,
did.
it's not like this is planned, but the week Jamie goes on vacation camping is when they signed Christian Wood. I'm sure he was thanking the Flying Spaghetti Monster for this.
And Sean, Bloodhound had a great comment, but Kurt Affair might have a close second right there.
Yep, absolutely. Laker Tom with the Christian Wood fullback tattoo. That could be happening. We may ask him to show it off tomorrow on Lakerholic Spotlight, indeed. So for Joe Sorrell, Laker Nick, and Magic Man Sean Grice, it's Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Please check out all of our great team reports, these NBA observations where we're covering the entire league. We just finished the Eastern Conference. Please support us by checking out those great shows that Joe was a part of, even with his, mimicking me right now. But please go ahead and check it out. We need all the help and support we can get, but thank you for doing so. Thank you for the super chat from Lakers in 5. And remember, subscribe, like, share, and let someone know about what we're doing right here at the Lakers Fast Break. So everybody have yourselves a fantastic Lakers weekend. We still got more shows on the way right here this weekend on the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Tom won't be able to defend that tat like Christian. We'll ask tomorrow.